HarperCollins presents An Orphan's Promise by Cathy Sharp. Read by Antonia Beamish. Prologue.
"I'm hungry,"
the child whined, dabbing miserably at her dripping nose.
"I want Ma. I want to go home."
She coughed harshly and rubbed at her thin chest. "You know that ain't going to happen for a while," Charlie said, eyeing his sister with a mixture of brotherly affection and concern. Maisie was sickly, though the doctors said she would grow out of it. All she needed was warmth and care, but at the moment he had neither to offer her. "Ma is in the hospital, and she's proper bad after what that devil did to her." Maisie looked at him, her eyes filling with tears. He saw the fear behind the tears, and knew that she was remembering the night when Ronnie the Greek, their mother's pimp, had thrown them out of the house in a temper. Charlie had gone back in to find food for them and a coat for her, because it was chilly, and that horrible man had caught him and given him a beating. He'd told Charlie to clear off before he broke his bleeding neck. But when their mother had protested that her children were cold and hungry, he'd turned on her, hammering at her with his fists until she fell unconscious to the ground, and then kicking her in the head. Charlie had gone for him then, kicking, punching and biting, until Ronnie had knocked him down and stormed out of the house. Charlie had tried to wake his mother, but she wouldn't open her eyes, so he'd run to a neighbour for help, and then the police had come, and his mother had been taken to the hospital. Charlie and Maisie had hidden behind the scullery door and listened until Ma was taken away in an ambulance, and then made their escape with what food they could find in the pantry. The police had asked the neighbours to bring them in as soon as they came home, and so they'd stayed clear of the house, hiding in derelict buildings, of which there were many in the back alleys near the docks. Charlie knew that he couldn't look after his sister properly yet. He needed to find work, and in these hard times that was easier said than done. Scores of men were standing on the corner of Button Street and the roads nearby, eyes dull, shoulders slumped with the despair of knowing that another day was passing without hope of finding a decent job, many already on the streets because they could not feed their children or keep a roof over their heads. Competition for somewhere to rest was fierce, and the children had been chased away from all the places where it was safe to sleep. "Clear off! We don't want kids here!" Charlie had been yelled at and cuffed more than once as he tried to find a spot out of the wind and rain. "Come on," he told Maisie, and took her hand. "We'll go to the police station and tell them we ain't got anywhere to live."
"They'll lock us up,"
Maisie said fearfully. "Nah, they'll take us somewhere warm and safe and feed us."
"I'm frightened, Charlie."
Maisie looked up at him, and he took her small hand gently in his.
"I wish Ma was home."
"So do I, but she ain't," he said. "I'm not afraid of anyone or anything, Maisie." It wasn't quite true, but Charlie knew he had to protect his sister, because there was no one else that would bother about them, so it was down to him. "We'll do what they tell us until I can earn a bit of money, and then we'll run away. Don't worry, Maisie. I'll look after you." Maisie looked up at him with the trusting eyes of a little kitten. He smiled because she was his sister and he loved her. Ma had done her best, but she'd fallen foul of a brute. That brute was going to pay one day. Charlie wasn't sure how, but he would find a way. "Come on, then," he said. "If we're lucky, they will feed us, and I'm hungry too." "I am concerned," Lady Rosalie said to the woman sitting opposite her in the parlour of her London house, a modest Georgian terrace. She preferred it to the larger house in the country where she'd lived with Sir George until his death, and to the historic but draughty castle where, as the daughter of an earl, she'd grown up. "I'm sure you will agree that the Adoption of Children Act of 1926 was done with the best intent, but too many adoptions are being granted to those who are not suitable, and in some cases utterly wrong for parenthood." "I quite agree with you, my lady," said Mary Thurston, matron of the
Sample complete. Ready to continue?